So, this one's gonna be about something different today, We're going to talk about a book actually, and it seems to be a relatively funny book, at least as I've just read all these different ratings and all these different kind of reviews, quote unquote. It seems to be a quite funny book, but it is about some scientific things. I still don't know what it is all about. It is also just some sort of a biography, and I like biographies, and I think there might be something in it, So yeah, this is gonna be it for today. I guess, at least. Maybe we're also gonna go through something else additionally to that. I don't know, But yeah, with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm pretty pumped to be here, and I hope that you're pumped as well. I'm hoping that you're also looking forward to this amazing, or at least I hope, amazing episode. But yeah, if you're just on a YouTube video, so if you're just watching the YouTube version of that, I do just really have to say to you and tell you that there's also an audio-only version of this particular podcast and or YouTube video, because it is a podcast, which means that you can just listen to whatever I'm going to talk about, in the next 30 minutes or something, or 20 minutes, who knows. So you can also listen to it, and listening to it is a way more effective way to just consuming this particular episode, just because you can do something simultaneously. You could be working out while you're listening to this, you could be just jogging while you're listening to this, you could be just tidying up your room while listening to this. So there's so many different ways and things you can do besides listening to that. So if you do not have the time for just watching the 30-minute episode, just because I assume that this is going to be a quite interesting one, then I would heavily suggest you to go into the description and check out the podcast. It should be available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Castbox, Stitcher, TuneIn, actually everywhere. It should be everywhere. But yeah, let's actually go straight ahead, or let's actually move straight ahead with the actual summary. And there you have it. This is actually a quite new website, and I've seen that by Googling book notes, you actually are able to find a lot of great websites that are showing you some notes on books. And this is basically the exact same thing that we are going through today. It is basically only notes on the book Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman by Richard Feynman. Yeah, so it is an autobiography, I guess. Or is it like, I don't know, there is a specific name, if I remember correctly, for an autobiography, or no, I think it is called autobiography, if it is a biography written by the person itself, I guess, but I'm not quite sure, take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know. The thing is, it seems to be quite a funny book, as also this kind of little paragraph that says, which I'm going to read afterwards. But yeah, you can truly find a lot of different websites with a lot of great books featured. When you're just typing in book notes, maybe you're also going to type in self-help book notes and whatnot, and you're going to find just a lot of sites, where you can find a lot of great, I assume, notes. And I do assume that just the notes themselves, can help you with, first of all, deciding whether you're going to buy this book or not, and whether this book actually is something for you or not, and to actually get the best insights from the book, just because you could also go through the same book multiple times from different websites, and then you're gonna just have quite a good overview of the whole book, just because, some people are going to write this down because it is just important for them, and some other people are going to write something else down, because we are all individuals, we are all writing down something different, and by going through a lot of different ones on the same book, you're going to just somehow minimize the amount of information you're not getting, Maybe there's just going to be some funny coincidences, who knows? But yeah, I think I shouldn't talk, and read more, Talk less and read more. So, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman by Richard Feynman. This book was rated 9 out of 10 stars or balls or berries or whatever, just from the site that I am on right now, and all the links are down in the description or in the show notes if you're on the podcast. High-level thoughts. This book sneaks up on you. You're reading these fun stories about Feynman lives, and then you look back and realize you learned about the scientific processes along the way. extremely readable, packed with wisdom and fun, which is just amazing. Like having something fun to read and something that you're learning a lot from is just amazing. Like it's, I think, kind of the best combination of things, I guess, in terms of books maybe, not in terms of just overall life and whatnot, but yeah, the summary notes. That's a puzzle drive. That's a puzzle drive. It is what accounts for my wanting to decipher Mayan hieroglyphics, for trying to open safes. I remember in high school, during first period, a guy would come to me with a puzzle in geometry or something which had been assigned in his advanced math class. I wouldn't stop until I figured the damn thing out. It would take me 15 or 20 minutes, but during the day, other guys would come to me with the same problem, and I would do it for them in a flash. So for one guy to do it, it took me 20 minutes, while there were 5 guys who thought I was a super genius. Yeah, I assume so. And this actually, and it is actually, or there is actually a reason why I'm going through notes on books, because it's really not a book summary. It really is not. And there is not even the attention that it is a book summary. But I'm still going through it because I think all those notes and all those thoughts can lead me to different thoughts, and those different thoughts can be really, really valuable to you. And I also think that it is just amazing to just read some of these things. For you, it might be just really interesting, and therefore I'm gonna read it, and therefore I'm also reading it. Because I think there could just really be something valuable in there. Even though there might just only be some funny things, but still it is funny and therefore also valuable. But yeah. But something that I can see there is that the obsession, like all those successful people and all those people that have been able to build something, they are all just really obsessed with whatever they're doing. It is just really insane. I don't know. Like, let's talk about Elon Musk, and I've been talking about him just quite often in the past few months, I guess, especially in the past few months, and like 120-hour weeks, working weeks. It's just insane. And it really is just about being obsessed and not about, having drive and whatnot. It is just really obsession with whatever he is doing or was doing. But yeah, hell, I don't know. We didn't talk well enough, but I don't how to know. But I don't have to know. But I don't have to know. It is just fun, seeing what is going to happen. It is an adventure. The other guy's afraid, so he says no. So I take the 2 girls in a taxi to the hotel, and I discover that there is a dance organized by the Deaf and Dumb. Believe it or not, they all belong to a club. It turns out, what the fuck? It turns out many of them can feel the rhythm enough to dance to the music and applaud the band at the end of each number. Which is incredible, which is really incredible. I don't know, which is actually the next paragraph. I don't know what's the matter with people. They don't learn by understanding, they learn by some other way. By rote or something, their knowledge is so fragile. They don't learn by understanding, they learn by rote. And I guess rote is writing, isn't it? Or something? Mechanical or habitual repetition of something to be learned. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it is something that I'm seeing as well. It is something that I'm really seeing as well, and something that I could really not suggest you to do. Whatever you might be learning and whatever you have to learn for school or for university or whatever you're doing, please try to understand it. Understanding it is, at least for me, just for me personally, it is the fastest and also best way to learn something. Because when you understand it, you can also just, I don't know if this is just some sort of an obvious thing or just logic or whatnot, but for me, I do really have to understand things, because when I understand things, I can imagine them. I can, for example, imagine how some sort of a machine is working, and if I am able to do that, then I'm also going to remember all the parts from the machine, because I have to know the parts to understand how the whole machine is working. If it is just about, I don't know, like, what could it be? A generator. Maybe, and then you have certain paths, certain, not paths, but certain things that are in the generator, like components and whatnot. And if I know the components, which I have to know how this whole thing is working, then I'm going to fucking remember them, because there is some sort of a reason, maybe, why I'm knowing these, or there's also just some sort of a a path for just the electricity or for the the electricity going in and going out, and or just actually going out, and how it is produced, through which mechanisms and through which movements. And therefore I just know the components and know how they are working, and I know that I need those components so that the whole generator is working, and therefore I also know how the generator is working. For example, this can be applied to just a lot of things, and therefore understanding it. And if you can't understand it by the things that you gotten from school, by the papers you got from school or by the books you got from school, I would heavily suggest you to go to the internet and or YouTube and watch some videos on these certain things, because you'll be able to learn way faster, and you will also be able to remember those things way better because you know what it is all about, you know how it is working. But yeah. But you have to have absolute confidence. Keep right on going, and nothing will happen. I don't know. Not quite sure. Learn what the rest of the world is like. Their variety is worthwhile. So I found hypnosis to be a very interesting experience. All the time you're saying to yourself, I could do that, but I won't, which is just another way of saying that you can't. Something that I've seen before and I've read before, and I think it was all about just not saying you can't, but you choose to not do that. Because if you're saying like you can't, then you can't, there's nothing to do about it, and you're basically saying to yourself that you cannot do that, that you're not able to do that. But if you're saying that you choose not to do that, you're saying like, okay, I could do that, but I'm choosing to just not do that. It is something that I just not doing at this point in time because I don't feel the urge maybe of doing that or some sort of way. I don't fucking know. Which is actually kind of the opposite of what he's saying. I could do that, but I won't. It is actually the exact same thing as saying like I could do that, but I choose to not do that. Or is it actually the same thing? I don't know. Choose the option that you like the best, I guess, or something. I don't know. They had wasted all their time memorizing stuff like that when it could be looked up in 15 minutes. This, and I'm going to repeat it, they had wasted all their time memorizing stuff like that when it could be looked up in 15 minutes. It basically summarizes school in just a few sentences. It really is insane, because the thing is, and something you'll probably also just have experienced if you're a student or if you have been a student, which I'm assuming, that we all have to memorize, or we all had to memorize different things. And all those different things were so unnecessary, especially in this day and age, because we can look up quite everything. In his case, it might have been just some years ago, I assume, at least, I really assume. I don't know him. I don't know Mr. Feynman. But in nowadays lives, we actually do not have to memorize anything. And I do just really think that it would be a better thing to just understand the principles, because if you understand the principles, then you're able to do whatever, but memorizing some stupid shit doesn't really make any sense somehow, because you're just naturally gonna memorize those things that you're actually in need of, Of course, if I'm using Photoshop, I know all the fucking shortcuts that I need to know, but I'm also not gonna know those shortcuts that I do not need to know. Because why would I? It would just be unnecessary things that I have to remember. But unfortunately, school system is working like that. And for example, if you're just willing to be a doctor and whatnot, for example, I think in Germany and in Austria, but definitely in Austria, you just really have to have good grades. You have to have good grades, no matter fucking what. You have to have that, And it is then just really unnecessary, that this is some kind of a way to just not get you there. So that they somehow can just choose that you're not going to be a doctor just because you're having bad grades in just some subjects, first of all, that you're not really interested in. And second of all, some subjects that were only about memorizing things that nobody needs to memorize, and or some things that you could just look up in a few seconds even, nowadays. But yeah, it is what it is. I think complaining about it won't make anything better as well. Therefore, just, let's do whatever. It was such a shock to me to see that a committee of man could could present a whole lot of ideas, each one thinking of a new facet, while remembering what the other fella said, so that at the end the decision is made as to which idea was the best, summing it all up without having to say it 3 times. These were very great men indeed. Sounds great. Sounds pretty interesting. It was a brilliant idea. You have no responsibility to live up to what other people think you ought to accomplish. I have no responsibility to be like they expect me to be. It is their mistakes and not my failing. This is a really important thing, therefore I'm also gonna repeat it. It was a brilliant idea. You have no responsibility to live up to what other people think you ought to accomplish. I have no responsibility to be like they expect me to be. It is their mistake, not my failing. Yeah, I guess so. And this is also somehow correlated to school again, because I don't know, this is something that I'm heavily thinking about, especially the past few, I guess, weeks, since I've actually been reading Seth Godin's thoughts on education and the educational system and all those things. And I really have to say that he's quite right. Even though, I don't know, it is such an easy thing to just, he's doing... The thing is, it is really easy to kind of complain about the educational system and the school system and whatnot, which is basically the thing that every single student is doing. At some point in time, every student's gonna just really complaining about the school system, the educational system, everything is fucked and everything is bad and everything is shitty. But in the end, it is really like, wow, how would you do that? Would you be like, okay, you don't have to learn anything? Would this actually be a good thing? No, it would not be a good thing. So how would you do that? And Seth Godin is doing it in a different way by or with his courses and also with his workshops. And I do believe that it is working quite well. At least he says that it is working quite well. And I do just really believe in him. I really believe in what he's saying. But I don't know. People expect you to just be good in every subject or at every subject, but in the end, there is no reason and no way that you are going to be good or actually perfect, in any subject or at any such subject. And there's also no need that you're going to be good at every subject or in every subject. I don't still know. Because why would you? Why would you have to be good at everything? It doesn't make any sense, You're either going to be a policeman, you're either going to be just... in the military, you're either going to be a cook, but you're not going to be everything. Even though a lot of people have different interests and a lot of different interests, and I'm also such a person, I'm having different interests and a lot of different interests, and this is something that I really like, because I don't know, I do just like multiple things. But the thing is, there's still a lot of things that I'm not really interested in. I do just truly understand and know that it is just important that you're having knowledge in a lot of areas, just some general knowledge in every areas, because also something that I've seen just, in the past few weeks as well, and also I think in the past year, since I've actually having the podcast and since I'm actually recording here and sitting here and talking about various things that I often do not know anything about, and it leads me to just being better in other areas because I just know something in one area of life. And you can sometimes, and relatively often as well, translate certain things from one area to a different area in life, which is just amazing, which is just good, and which just maybe somehow underlines the importance of knowing quite a lot of things, and being kind of wise in general or something. I don't know. But yeah. After a lot of investigation, I finally figured out that the students had memorized everything, but they didn't know what anything meant. When they heard light that is reflected from a medium with an index, they didn't know that it meant a material such as water. They didn't know that the direction of the light is the direction in which you see something when you're looking at it, and so on. Everything was entirely memorized, yet nothing had been translated into meaningful words. So I asked, what is Brewster's angle? I'm going into the computer with the right keywords, but if I say, look at the water, nothing happens. They don't have anything under look at the water. Yeah, it is what it is. It's actually the case. It really is the case. And therefore, I've just said before, you do just have to understand whatever you're learning, because it, first of all, is going to make everything easier. And if there's going to be just some price or surprisingly difficult or surprising question in your test or exam or whatever it might be, then you're gonna succeed because you understand what the whole thing is all about. But if you're only just somehow summarizing and or memorizing things, you do just know those things. Well, did you ever ask them? Oh, I never thought of that. The next girl I met that I wanted to pose for me as a Caltech student, I asked her if she would pose nude. What the fuck? Certainly, she said, and there we were. What the fuck? Certainly, she said, and there we were. So it was easy. I guess there was so much in the back of my mind that I thought it was somehow wrong to ask. I've done a lot of drawing by now, and I've gotten so I like to draw nudes best. For all I know, it is not art exactly. It is a mixture. I'm sorry. Who knows the percentages? Question mark. Well, yeah. But yeah, I do just really have to say, like, asking is not really a bad thing. Like, just ask. What should happen? There's just two answers, yes or no. In the end. In the really end, there's only yes and no. Most often, maybe there's something in between, maybe something like, okay, I'm not quite sure, I'm gonna tell you tomorrow, which might also just be a no, but, often people do not want to be as direct as some other people, which is fine, which is okay. The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you're the easiest person to fool, so you have to be very careful about that. After you have not fooled yourself, it is easy not to fool other scientists. You just have to be honest in a conventional way after that. Yeah, totally the case, to just being honest with yourself and to yourself, because then you also not have to just be not honest to other people. You're able to then be honest. As he said, I just kind of repeated what he said already. But yeah, the last paragraph. So I have just one wish for you. The good luck to be somewhere where you are free to maintain the kind of integrity I have described, and where you do not feel forced by a need to maintain your position in the organization or financial support or so on. To lose your integrity, may you have that freedom. So I'm sorry, organization or financial support or so on to lose your integrity. May you have that freedom. Definitely the fucking case. It is just really insane. I really hope that you're doing something, and it is something different. What I just wanted to say is something different that he was just saying, because he was saying like, okay, I do just really hope that you are able to do whatever you want to do, because not because you, or like, he just wants us to do things just because we are choosing to do them, and not because we're having to, because of financial reasons, or because of organizational reasons, or because of some other reasons. He just wants us to do things that we like just because we like them. And it would be amazing. It would really be amazing if everybody would be able to do whatever he or she wants to do. Because I assume everybody wants to do something. I really don't think that anybody would actually just lay around all day long. That this would actually be something that they would really like to do. Of course, there's going to be some days where you're going to be just tired and mad and whatnot, and you feel like laying down and doing nothing. But I think that everybody has something that they are willing to do and that they want to do. But often it is actually the case that I don't know, or sometimes, I don't know if it is often the case, but sometimes it's just got to be the case that they're not able to do that just because of various reasons. Maybe financial reasons. I guess there actually is. It is a reason relatively often. But yeah, like, I do just really hope that you are able to do and also willing to do what you want to do, and what you're passionate about and what you like to do, because then you're going to be successful, Because if you're doing something that you hate, even though it is good contrast, it really is good contrast to just once do something that you absolutely hate, because you then see what it is like, Then you see what it is like to do something that you really don't like to do. But yeah. So this is actually it with this some sort of summary, not really summary, and I've liked it. I've really truly liked it, and it has actually given me the things that I expected it to give me, which is just some thoughts to talk about and some things to talk about some inputs for me, that actually kind of drive my brain and also just get my brain to move in, which then just leads to certain other things that I've read somewhere or I've experienced, or just various things and various kind of upcomings and whatever, I don't know. But I'm also going to show you the website, I hope. There are also articles, and he's also having a podcast. I assume it is he, because it is called, or maybe it is not even the case. So he's having he read a lot of different books. Nathaniel Eliason. I'm going to link down everything in the description. And yeah, should I actually go through a quick Quora question, just because we have always been doing it. Not always, but for a few, weeks, I guess. It is not a month. I guess it is not a month. How can I concentrate on one thing for a long time? I would say if it is really important, then you can. If it is not important, then you can't. And if you're a person who just likes to do multiple things, then you should also embrace that, I guess. It should not really be about just focusing on one thing because somebody said that you should focus on one thing. If this is something that really makes you unhappy and not feeling good, then it won't just work, I guess. Yeah. I would say so. And I think that this is actually it with the episode. I guess, I assume, and I do hope that this episode has gotten you to somewhere, or gotten you something of information, or just whatever. But yeah, I wish you the best. Self-wealth, health, wealth, happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you gonna be remembered. I'm sorry. Which means your legacy, which means like being nice and then being remembered as a nice person, even though something that has to be said is that it won't work always. There's just gonna be the days, and there's just gonna be somebody that just dislikes you. Not even because you are who you are, but maybe just because of them. Even though it is just always really easy to blame somebody else. In this case, I would even say doesn't necessarily have to be about you, because we're 7 billion people, more than 7 billion people on this planet, and there just actually has to be somebody that does not like you. Just because, I don't know. And 3 other questions that I hope that you're going to ask yourself are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And those 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose, and maybe even a business idea. Because who knows? Often it actually was the case that some businesses emerged of the thought of being just bothered by something, whatever it might have been. It's been different things, and also very different things. But yeah, this is it with the episode. Subscribe to the podcast, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've liked it. If you've liked this episode and if you want to see more of it, then please subscribe, and also rate if you've liked it or disliked it. If you haven't liked it just because of some reasons, tell me, hit me up on social media or put it down into the comments. I'm gonna see you the next time. I at least hope.